Hello, my absolutely beautiful astrology soulmates, and welcome to your weekly horoscope for the week of March 20th, where this week, not only do we welcome in the equinox, we welcome in Mars into the energy of Cancer, which means there's a whole bag of different vibration coming to the table. But this week, we've also got a new moon on the table that is going to get us set and prepared to bring in Aries season in a very specific way. It's not simply Aries season, let's just initiate some things. This is asking us some very specific questions about what we are really willing to fight for. What is it that you really want to bring in? And I want to cue us to this right here at the beginning of the video, because we want to keep in mind that Jupiter is still transiting through Aries, but not very long here. Just in May, we're going to see Jupiter get into the energy of Taurus. And in Taurus, it is going to make valuable, it is going to make permanent, it is going to make a resource for you if you have been clear on what it is that you want to grow in your Aries garden. So it's really a set of weeks until we get into May that I would tell you, take Aries season quite seriously, because what you want does want you, but we also need you to take some action and make some decisions to get that thing going. So lots going on this week. We're going to jump in and talk through all of it. Before we do that, make sure that you're taking advantage of your Astrology 101 and 102 digital courses that I've still got on sale until May for $25 each. So you can get that in the description box down below. Get your digital transit calendar from our friends at Wise Skies Collective, because when I'm telling you, yes, we're having a new moon, but there's also this great emphasis of Jupiter. You want to be able to see this. You want to know when the void of course moon time is coming during the day, so that you can remember to consciously tell yourself, it's okay for me to slow here. Or we've got the moon in Aries. Okay, I need to move, right? So whatever it is, let the digital transit calendar be a helpful guide to you. And you can get it for $17 off in the description box down below. All right, into this week, because it is a busy week. So coming in, first of all, at the beginning of the week on Monday, the first aspect that we're going to really focus in on is the fact that transiting Venus is in a conjunction with the transiting North Node. So this is happening in the energy of Taurus, okay? Now that North Node energy is pulling us towards Taurus qualities, romance, finance, relationships, resources, self-value, the things that you really want to make permanent because they have value, or you want it to be long-term in your life. That North Node is pulling that energy towards, right? Now with Venus in a conjunction here, it becomes this conversation of, first of all, some ease. Right? You know, there's kind of this idea of like no pain, no gain. I was literally just talking about this with somebody before, where it's like no pain, no gain. But in the energy of Taurus, there is this idea of, yes, I need to work hard and I need to endure and I need to build a solid resource. But Venus brings in this vibration of, why can't what I'm building be done from a position of blessing, from pleasure? Why can't I live out my dharma, the things that I've done well in this life and others, and bring that into the resources that I'm building? Why does it have to be painful? And that's a question for each of us to answer, right? It's like, why can't I let this be a joyful, pleasureful, sensual, delicious experience in my life and let it pull me forward at the North Node, right? It's kind of the idea that I hold is this, not just being on the lazy river. You remember that, where you get in the inner tubes and you're just going along with the river but you're in the river with your canoe and your little floaty, and you've got the beverage of your choice. You've got on the outfit of your choice. Where going with the flow is not because I have to, it's because I desire to do it from a position of beauty. Now remember, again, Jupiter is going to blow through here in May. So it's again the question I ask you. We're going to see it this week. What do you want to build? What are you willing to fight for? What are you willing to plant in your garden and let it grow? But Jupiter will expand the amount of pleasure that you're allowed to have in growing the things that you plant, okay? Now, later in the day on Monday, we're going to see the sun come into a sextile with Pluto. Now, Pluto is going to be on the move this week as well into the energy of Aquarius, but right now it's still vibrating here in Capricorn. So as we see this sextile happening, a Sun-Pluto sextile is very driven, right? It's not driven. Let me not say driven. It's empowered. Like what you want to do wants you. You can steadily move forward and know that you are taking appropriate, empowered action towards building a resource for yourself, right? From the head and the heart are in alignment with this particular aspect. Now, we're going to see as we get later in the day, though, that the sun now moves and gets into this position of Aries. So we're going to welcome in Aries season. Happy birthday, my Aries friends. It's your annual start. It's an annual start for all of us, but this is your birthday time. So truly in that sun energy, what do you want for yourself? What do you want to grow? What are you willing to warrior for, right? These are the questions of Aries season as the sun comes in. But also, for the rest of us, as we're welcoming in this equinox, I really think it is this question of not just what do you desire, what are you willing to fight for, but where are you deriving your motivation to do what you're doing, right? Because an Aries energy, while impulsive and while willing to go forward and make it happen, and this is what I'm willing to move towards, right? It's pretty clear on why it's doing what it's doing. What's the motivation that's getting me to do this? So there must be something within you that is saying, I feel like I want to fight for this. I feel like I want to bring this into my life. What is that motivation? As the sun moves here into Aries, I think that that's a phenomenal question for you to be asking. So when we come in on Tuesday, we are still seeing the moon traveling through the energy of Pisces, and it's going to hit void, of course, until it gets into the energy of Aries. Okay, so I want to highlight here, though, to take your void, of course, time. Okay, remember to rest. Remember to relax. The sun has moved into a motivated, let's go get it, we're starting things kind of energy. So pause and reflect on what you are motivated to take action on, because Aries is the action energy, okay? Now, later in the day, we're going to see the new moon happening here at 0 degrees of Aries, and this is really significant for several reasons. First of all, having a new moon at the very beginning of a sign is telling us that we are at the very beginning of something that we are initiating, something that you're coming to clarity with. Something that you're like, this is not just what I desire, it's what I'm motivated towards. This is what I am willing to, come hell or high water, fight for, put energy in, be that warrior or warrioress, and move towards it. So it's very much so at this new moon that a place that is, you get shown in the dark, because this is the dark moon of the month, right? You get shown in a really internal, motivated kind of way what you're willing to fight for. And I'm telling you, over the next 2.5 years, what you will have started, I think it's going to blow your mind by the time we get to 2025 and you go, I remember at that new moon when I started this. I remembered when that's who I said, who I am willing to be this person now. I'm willing to take on this persona. I'm willing to take on this identity and move this forward. And you're really going to see it trace back, I think, to this particular moon. So also keep in mind that at the new moon, we're planting our seeds of intention, okay? But the ground is fertile. Your spirit is fertile right now, my beautiful friends. So what you plant here, for good or for ill, you are going to work on for some time. So be choosy. Be choosy at the time that you are listening to this. If it's before the new moon or it's 8 hours after the new moon, I want you to be choosy. Who is the person, place, or thing that you want in your life? If you're listening to content that is not helping you get what you said you are willing to fight for, come hell or high water, stop listening to that content. Get it out of there, right? If whatever it is, be choosy, because for good or for ill, what you plant here is going to grow, okay? Now, as we're trudging into Wednesday, it's really nice because I think we need the break. I think we need to soak up this moon. We need to soak up the conversation that's been happening between that node and Venus being in Taurus and sitting in a sextile to Saturn that's over in Pisces, because it's really, we're kind of being called out this week. It's like, you've been saying it, but are you just talking the talk, or do you really want it? Are you really going to put some faith and some trust out there and walk towards that thing like you want to have it in your life? So we're being called to task a little bit in this first portion of the week. So by the time we get to Wednesday, I'm going to tell you, enjoy that Aries energy, take some action. What is the action? Because here's the other thing I want you to remember. You're not going to be able to think yourself into the new life that you want. You're not going to be able to think yourself into anything that you want. This is the season of action. And Aries in every single one of our charts is about, I am assertive, I am moving, I am in action. So this is the season of action, okay? Now, as action-packed as it all is, we get to Thursday and boom shakalaka, Pluto moves into the energy of Aquarius. All right. We have been waiting for this, and this is not the last time we're going to see Pluto at 0 degrees of Aquarius, so this is just a jumping off point to start negotiations, okay? But as Pluto, which is about power, empowerment, destruction, control, corruption, the underworld, the great root of things where we do the healing when we can get to the truth, moves into the energy of Aquarius, this is going to change. This is between now and June, we're going to get the first taste of really big changes in our cultural and societal structures. This is definitely a societal energy. It's not that it's not happening for us each personally, because for sure it is. And if you are a 0 degree Aquarius, or you have a point that's at 0 degrees of Aquarius, it'll be very impactful in your chart. But on a society level, from the culture, the society, technologies, groups, truth and information, where we've had corrupt power or corrupt truths, they are all going to start to present themselves. We're going to get some symbolism of this coming to the surface, and it all kicks off here on Thursday. Okay, so I really do, I want you to buckle up just a little bit, not in a fearful way, but to, understand that we have lived through a period that will definitely make the history books, for sure. Okay, we did some history making things in 2020, 21, 22. But also, we're going to see some real revelation of corruption of power, corruption of truth, where we're going to see where we've, as groupings of people, where we've destroyed ourselves by destroying each other. And how have we done that? In air. We've done that through information. So we're really going to start to see some different things coming up in society right now. And we need to see those things. And we need to see those things and understand that we need to see those things, you guys, because they do play a role in our personal charts. You can have the best transit in the world, and if your society hasn't made space for you to actualize that, you're going to do something really different. So this is a big deal for us. Now, other things I want you to consider on the personal front, though, is go into your chart to 0 degrees of Aquarius. Where is this? What house is it for you? Is there a planet there? Is there an angle happening there? What is going on for you at this particular Aquarius energy? Because this is where you're going to have some truths also illuminated for you until we see, we're going to get into June, and we're going to see that Pluto is going to come into some retrograde energy, and then we'll dance back forth with it again in 2024. But start to take note of some real truths that are presenting themselves, because the truth is going to piss you off, but it will also set you free, and you'll be empowered on the other side. And I think you'll also get an opportunity, all of us will, to see where we've had truths that have pitted us not just against each other as a collective, but stories that you've even told yourself from maybe childhood or things going on in your own home, where you've created an enemy out of a story that wasn't true, okay? When we get later in the day, we'll see that void of course moon before we see the moon move into the energy of Taurus. Pull in your creature comforts. What is of value to you? Look at your self-esteem. All of these Taurus things, I want you to go in. And really, When the moon is in Taurus, one of the things I've been thinking about as I've been doing these forecasts is like where you have areas that you feel like there might be latent insecurity. This is a great place to take Taurus with you and explore that. Why do you feel less than? Why do you feel insecure? Why do you feel afraid here? Because if you'll explore what that is, Taurus is great at finding the gems in a pile of poop. Okay, Taurus will get down and in. That is how Taurus energy works. It's earth energy, down and in. So it'll get down there with you and show you like, well, wait a minute, you're worried about this over here, but here's this gem over here, and this is valuable to you, right? So it's a really lovely kind of energy. Okay. Friday, yeah, Friday's living his best life. Enjoy it. We've got a lot of energy that's been happening, but I think it is a game changer when we get to Saturday, because Mars is going to move into the energy of Cancer. Now, let's explore this for just a second. So first of all, we had Mars for 7 months in one sign, right? And a portion of that is that it was vibrating in Gemini. And the last 6 weeks have been particularly perky with Mars waiting to get out of post-retrograde shadow and really have the opportunity to move forward. So from the 15th until the 25th, we've had Mars doing a lot because it's been able to move forward in its energy. We've been able to get things done. Pent-up anger has absolutely been released, right? Moving towards the goal that you saw. And then we welcomed in Aries season, welcomed in a new moon. So Mars has been active in, I'm gonna do something. I need to do something. And I absolutely agree with that. Now, as Mars moves into the energy of Cancer, first of all, think of that fireball crashing towards whatever, and it gets pulled into water, right? We have Mars moving into water, so it will help in that watery energy to burn off some of the excessive need to take action, some of the excessive anger, resentment, impulsivity. It will burn some of that off. But it's also going to take Mars in a different shape. Our actions are going to take a different shape. Instead of you just need to do something, now it's like, what is your strategy to create security for yourself? What is your strategy at how you are going about doing things in your life? Are you being passive aggressive? If someone in your life is being passive aggressive, because remember, Cancer's not going to go right at what it's trying to do, whereas Mars wants to just go at it. Cancer's like, whoop, we're going to take a little detour. We are going to get there, but I'm not going to come right at it. So watch for that passive aggressive behavior. Ask yourself the questions of strategy, of home, security, what actions are you taking to nurture yourself, your family, your dreams, your body, right? Also, though, I think that between the move of Pluto into Aquarius and now Mars into this Cancerian energy on the global stage, I've already talked about truths I think will be revealed, but I also think that we're going to see a really big win for the underdog. Okay, and if that's you, if you have felt like you're the underdog, if you have felt like you are the one under society's thumb, or you have felt like you're behind in some way, this season for you can be of delicious, delicious benefit to have a win, right? It's you have the opportunity to have a win. So I hope that whoever really needed to hear that this week, that you can hear that and you can breathe that in, because it is going to change the shape of what's going on. It will also change the shape of society happening around us as well, okay? Especially here in the United States, where we are a Cancer sun. We're going to see a lot of things picking up, a lot of information picking up, a lot of things around travel and what does it mean, homeland security. We're going to see some of these starting to change, but I really think that's more initiated by that Plutonian energy. Now, later in the day on Saturday, the moon will drop into void of course energy again, so rest. Take your rest before the moon moves into Gemini. Now, it's funny because we've had Mars in that Gemini energy for so long that now that Mars is going to be completely out of Gemini, I think we go back emotionally into that area of our lives, and we go back to August of 2022, and we're looking at everything that we've reviewed, we've seen, we've felt, we've said, we've done all the way since then with a new pair of glasses. Like, our perspective is different, right? We have new networks, and even in our brains, right? We've done things that have created new networks to fire so that we can process information. Prime example, one of the huge things over here in my life is we've been getting our stuff ready to make this move to Spain. And because there's so much more active Spanish, I'm watching the people in my house, I'm literally watching the shape of their mouths be different because they're forming their words around speaking to each other only in Spanish in our household, right? So literally different pieces of your network are firing, but now with Mars out creating all that busyness, you have an emotional chance to stop and look around. What new information has come to you? Contracts. What's going on with siblings around you? How are your new networks working? What new information do you have that supports you going forward and supports your learning, right? Okay, now Sunday, with all of that going on, we've got the moon traveling through Gemini, but then the ruling planet of Gemini, Mercury, is going to come into a conjunction with Chiron. And I think that this is really important because, first of all, when Mercury and Chiron come together, we need to have conversations about identity. We need to have conversations about what's going on, what I'm doing, what I'm teaching, what I'm receiving that is supporting my healing. But the other part of this Mercury and Chiron energy that I think is so great with the moon in Gemini is it gives you a place to gather your new perspective, you guys, by thinking about what it is like to interact with you today, right? Think about that. Take this. I've done this in my life and I was really surprised and it was really great feedback. But I went to my husband, and this is like over a year ago, but it was under some Mercury Chiron energy, and I asked him, what is it like to be married to me? What is it like to talk to me? What is it like to experience me? And to be able to listen with that open mind, with a willingness to make changes or adjustments or see someone or see information or work and teach in a different way that ups the value. That's not about making somebody else comfortable. We're not running around here catering to people, but it is this extension of becoming so much more comfortable in ourselves and becoming more of ourselves in our own identities and having some of those wounds having healed, that we can extend ourselves to say, wow, I can actually interact with you to understand, to not just have to be understood. So it's a great day on Sunday, and I would invite you to take it with you this week. Ask people what it's like to be with you. Now, also another great thing that I always think when Mercury shows up, it's a great time to write things down. So being a conscious observer in your life, what is it like to be you? Where do you see the separation between your identity today and your identity last March, right? I know one of the things that comes up for me is there's a particular conversation that would be had in my household, right? And the conversation would start and I would kind of feel this tension in my belly. And it wasn't even a bad conversation, right? But it would be a little tight and I'd be like, all right, universe, come in. Let me be clear. Let me be calm. Let me hear from a different position, right? And today, as this conversation comes up in my house, it's natural. And my body's not having this reaction. And who I think I need to be in the conversation is really very different. So I'm interested to see, with all of this beautiful energy that's happening in Aries, Jupiter being here, we just had a moon, now we've got this. What is the conversation like with you? And who are you willing to present to the world in this new identity? Who is it that you've said, I'm willing to fight for this, and you're bringing it in and thus bringing it up and out, but you also realize the adjustments that need to be made in order for you to be this next version of yourself, for you to implement this next version of yourself in an outer way. So I'm really excited to hear how this resonates for you this week, what we see in the world, what's going on, changes that are going to be coming up. There's going to be some truth bombs that I genuinely believe come out. The Aries ingress, just in terms of the mundane, which is like the global astrology, shows us that there are plenty of geopolitical conversations that we're going to get information about this week and in the weeks to come. All right, my absolutely beautiful friends, I love you a ton. I can't wait to see our Turkish family next week as I'll be in Turkey traveling with our Astro family over there. So if that's you and I'm going to see you there, I can't wait to give you a squeeze and thank you in advance for welcoming me into your beautiful space. I love you guys and I'll see you next week. Bye.